Hello everyone, this is Joe, welcome to my channel. Today I was planning on finishing the demo, but there was something I was not expecting. The devs released a beta version of the demo which includes a new kind of unlockables that was not in Shapez 1, pins. So instead of cutting some boring 2D shapes, as we've been doing, we'll be putting together some kind of 3D shapes. I haven't looked at this too much, but let's get in. Okay, so this is where we left things off last time. So we did a bit of experiment with the space platform. We'll probably just destroy all this as we look at the new shapes we have to create. And a quick thing, if we look in our research, we're going to see the new unlockables. We have the pin pusher that will allow us to do our 3D shapes. All right, we're going to start with the belt speed. If we click on it, we can see the different layers we have to stack on top of each other. Even though these ones on top looks a bit smaller, we really just have to stack the same shape on top of each other, and they will get progressively smaller as they get stacked on each other. We have the red square here, so we're going to use those. And there's also these full square here as well, so we're going to use these ones to combine. So let's go to the space belt mode. On top, you can see we have a limit of 250 platforms. I don't think it's going to be an issue in this demo, but just in case you're wondering if it's unlimited, the number is right here at the top. By the way, when you place those miners, you can also rotate it with R. Since we are planning to go on the right side, I'll just position it like this. You can do the same thing with the belt. If you want to do a corner, you press C. That will create an anchor, and then you can go on the right, like I've just done. To make it jump across, you have to make sure you select it like this. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Now we are going to send the red square here. We're going to go nuts a little bit with this. So if we ever need more red square, well, we'll have a full 4 belts going out of it. Now let's do the same thing with those white squares. Since we're going to use our cutter, I'm only going to take 2 of them, and that should create 4 belts when they're split up. And we seem to have connected them correctly. This is going to get really crazy once we start having belts going everywhere. This map is so huge. Alright, let's finish the cutting here. I'm gonna scrap this here. I'll move it on the left a little bit, and I'll make its own little factory to create those parts. It's easy to do a mistake with those space belt. So if you end up in a situation like this, just scrap everything and start over. We'll be good now. Each of those has 120, so we are going to need 4 cutters. I'm going to mimic what we have here. We're going to create the left side of the square. each side should be outputting the maximum speed now. I'm gonna copy paste this and create the same thing for the other belt. Okay, and now we're gonna send all this to this right side here. All right, so we'll check to make sure it's going at the right speed. There we go, we didn't mess up. The last thing we have to do is to stack those on top of each other. We're going to copy what we created here. And we're going to add one more stacker just to be sure that we are maximizing it. Okay, if we look at our shape, so it's white, red, and white. Oh, this is starting to look good. This will go at the bottom, and the other one will go on top. There we go, we have the right shape. As we said before, it doesn't matter if it's not in the exact same rotation than this. And we just have to send that to our vortex. From a platform cost perspective, each square counts as 1. So if we want to be economical, as an example, this count only has 2. Versus doing multiple platforms. But we have so much right now, we don't really care. I'll just make a little highway for our shapes to get to the vortex. Find some space, thread the needle around. And there we go. All right, we're good to go. And it has begun. All right, let's move to the next one, our stacking speed. So this is our other shape. There are 2 layers. The bottom one has 2 opposite squares. And the second layer is some kind of weird arrow shaped. Let's see where we can find those. Okay, so I did find something that matches what we need. We could cut our own shape, but it's more fun to go in space to find it. Here we have our opposite circles. On top here we have the same thing with the squares. And if I go here, I have the other parts that we'll need to stack on top of it. So, all right, let's get those together. And we're going to do similar to what we have over there. It's going to be a little production area here. And finally, our circles. Alright. Let's do the same thing for the squares. And finally, our red strange particles. And finally, our red arrow parts. Okay, our build speed is completed. I'm going to click on it. And since we can, I'm going to add the last one to this. I'll go quickly do it on the other one. Which now means that a single island can be sent on only 2 belts. Alright, we have everything we need here, so it's going to be very similar to what we've done earlier. Matter of stacking them twice. So let's start with the top part. Yeah, that is the right shape. Okay, there's a little issue here. Let's disconnect this for a moment. So the square has to be in the same angle than the circles. The first few ones are not the right thing, but it should be fine afterward. There we go. The first few ones should be incorrect, but the latest one we've done should be okay afterwards. Here they are. Get the trash out. There we go. So that should do our stacking speed in a few minutes. All right, next we're going to unlock the 180 degrees rotator. It's going to avoid us having to do this kind of thing here. So we'll be able to put one of these. That's what I'm assuming. Let's look at our shape to make sure we don't have any surprises. Oh, it's a good old flat shape. Single layer, one shape. We're going to try to be lazy with this one as well. So we have a half circle here. I don't think we have this exact side here, but if we look here, that's what we need. So we'll take this half here. In fact, we'll take this one and we'll merge it together with the half circle. Gonna make our little factory around here. As usual, asteroid miner. We're gonna go in the back way. Stacking speed is completed. So we could remove some of the stacker we put earlier, but I'll leave it as is for now. On this little platform here, I'm going to create the half that we need here. So if we need to repeat that later on, we're going to have access to it. And on the other one, I will send the shape as is. I was planning on using the half destroyer, but we might need that little square that's extra afterwards. I like to use the cutter just to keep some of the extra shapes around. You never know when you're going to need them. Okay, the one disadvantage of cutter though is that it takes a lot of space. Oh, I didn't leave myself enough space for this one here. To be creative. Proof all everything here, we have the three shapes that we just created. Next, we just need to take the half circle. And at last, this one's very simple. We just have to stack this shape here with our half circle. So I'm going to do what we haven't done yet in a little while. So we're going to create a blueprint. We only need 5 because we just upgraded them. And we are going to save it to our blueprint library. If we go back here, we take our stackers. And we're going to create another entry point from the bottom. The top is very clogged right now. I'm going to keep a buffer like I've done above. You never know when you need to do some last minute changes. And there we go. That should be okay for this one. Finally, the pin pusher. let's look at our shape. Single layer again. We already have these opposite circles. We'll be able to use this. Let's see if there are some opposite arrowhead. So there is nothing in the vicinity, but we're not using that side here. So I'm going to use this to create. I'm going to use this to create the opposite arrowhead. Okay, we have our opposing circle here. And we have our little arrowheads here, so we'll be able to combine this around here. All right, let's create another platform. I'm curious, let's see what happens if you have a larger gap to see if something happens. Moment of truth. A few seconds. And the shape of just chucking space. Alright, at least we know. Not the way to go. Okay, so to create the opposite arrowhead, I'm going to take these two here and combine them into a single shape. So this is the side that's not used yet. This is what's going to become the arrows. Just make sure it is clean. I could just delete it, but I'm going to put a trash here just to empty the belt until we're ready. And we got to use for the trash, so. So we're going to do some kind of twisty thing here, come back here to send them this way. I really need to make a blueprint of this. I'm tired of redoing the same thing. Alright, so we don't have to redo this again. Select this. Save. There we go. So we shouldn't have to do this again. I'm going to leave this here for now, in case we need it at some point, but I don't have enough space to send it back, so we'll only concentrate on the double arrowheads. Blueprint library. I said I wouldn't do it again, so I'm not going to do it again. This is getting to be a case of it's not because you can do it that you should. This 3D thing is getting a little bit confusing. Here we go. We'll need to go stack this somewhere else. There's not enough space here. I could just do it above. I probably messed up a little bit here, but I'll just take more space. That's fine. Alright, found a little way to get this over here. Okay, very simple. We have our stacker blueprint. Just gonna put it a little bit higher to give me some space to rotate. If we had our new rotator, we'd be able to complete it. Oh, I see that this is stopped. I must have removed the wrong thing earlier. So I'll finish this part, then I'll go fix it. Because that should be completed by now. In fact, let's take a minute to go see why this is not working. Ah, I found the issue. We're not using the other side, so that means that our cutter are completely jammed. So we'll need to, since we cannot use them now, we're going to put some trash here just to prevent this from happening. And I'll do a quick look around because I think we have the same thing in a couple places. Alright, well, we'll see if something stopped moving at some point. That means we have the same issue, but at least I've got what's around what we need right now. So, okay, let's follow this again. There we go. It's coming back now, so it's going to happen to you at some point, I'm sure. So back here, let's implement the new lesson we just got and trash this. Oh, this is messy, but yeah. That's what we have to live with now. Okay, so this is moving again, so we can go back to what we were doing here. In fact, I'm going to wait a minute and we'll use this as a good example. So I will be right back. And here we go. Bottom one, as you can see, it will do 180 rotations. Let's get our stackers. And we'll send it back where it came from. Is that the best way to do this? Nah. Will it work in our case? Yes, we don't care. Okay, now if we go back up here, we said we would combine this here. And now that we don't need to transform them here, I'm just going to make this a long platform instead. Here we go. Again, very useful. Press B to get the blueprint library. Get our stackers in. There we go. That seems correct. And the best way to go back to the middle seems to be there, so... Yes. This is our return highway, so... I really hope you're not offended by all this this twist and turn. Okay, this one is not needed anymore. I'm just going to trash it around here in case we need it later, but I don't want to, because we don't care really about losing this one here, so. Go, the game updated it to this. There we go. So in 4 minutes, we should have this unlocked. In the meantime, I'll be doing a little bit of refactoring time. So just see what we have around, see if we can clean some of that up, just make things a little bit more standard. So I decided to specialize this little platform here to create the same shapes we had here. It's not that much more efficient, but it's an interesting concept. You can go on the side, create the shape you want, and then send it back. Trying to think of some ideas for the main game. Okay, so we unlock the pin pusher. Let's see what it does. Well, I guess the pin pusher adds a pin to our shape. And I think that allows to put a shape on top of it, from what we saw in the preview image in the beginning. Alright, that will be it for episode 3. Next week we're going to finally finish this demo. I'm going to start another series after this one, and if you have any suggestions, please post them in the comments. In the meantime, there's a few demos that are still available for Steam Next Fest, so I might try one of these games before starting the next series. Thanks everyone, and as usual, have a nice day.